Well, if the rumors are true and blondes do have more fun, then Julie Chrisley must be having the time of her life. That's right, Julie Chrisley just dyed her hair blonde to get back to how her hair was before prison. Thank you so much, TMZ, for sharing that news with Turtle Time. And now let's go to Amy with more news.
Hey. Those Chrisleys, just gotta love them. We still don't know anything about them.
You gotta love them. Chrisley. I haven't checked in on Todd yet. I haven't peeked back into that live feed that they've got going on over there. But Julie's got the blonde hair now. Todd, I think, has been lifting weights, and we're just kind of biding our time to see what's next for those Chrisleys and their wonderful children. So
I wonder if somehow I'll get matched against them in our future civil war, and I'll be like, oh, I know you guys.
Yeah, you mean matched against?
Definitely.
Oh, you mean if for some reason there's a chance to meet on the battlefield and you
I'll
see
be
two
like,
blonde... two blonde people, or one looks really, really buff and one looks newly blonde. Yeah, that could totally happen. Well, I mean, we'll keep track of it, the Chrisleys and stuff, and see what the future holds for them. I do want to say that I was saying to you right before we got on here that I kind of feel like Wolf Blitzer, and then you must be Pamela Brown. And I feel like we're in the Situation Room right now, because the Bravo Situation Room, because there's probably 100 news stories that have popped up since you and I last recorded. People say to us, they go, every time you guys drop an episode, it'll be the biggest news day of the century. Like Paige, we missed Paige.
But we made up for it. But it's like there's no good day to choose, because you think that you got it all in, and then the next day it's like Rachel Zoe joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I was like, I did not see that coming.
Me neither. You just teed up perfectly the first news story on the Bravo docket for us. But yeah, we have no control over the flow of news, and it just so happens that you and I blow it completely with whenever we record, and it just happens to be we missed a big casting day. There must have been last Friday, casting must have gone out, a bunch of casting emails, and that's where all of this news came from. The Lexi stuff, Rachel Zoe. I contend that Bryn's announcement today, which we'll talk about, came from that. So I feel like that just kind of got unleashed, and then that's all the news that we're dealing with. So first of which, you just mentioned, what does it mean? What does it mean for someone who knows absolutely nothing of Rachel Zoe? What does it mean that she's now cast on Beverly Hills?
I'm curious what your take will be. I wonder if you have enough free time between now and the new season to watch the Rachel Zoe Project. I think it's only like 3 seasons or something. I watched it in the past year again because I was obsessed with it when it was on. I think she'll be entertaining. I'm kind of curious how she'll be with confrontation, because she didn't have too much, because the only people she interacted with worked for her. Mm-hmm. So she would have to mediate between her assistants who were fighting, but she never got into it with anybody really. And she had to be moderately professional, because if she wasn't dealing with her assistants, she was dealing with famous fashion designers. And then there was her husband, but it's I'm curious if she'll be interested in fighting, or what her vibe is in that way.
I watched the trailer, and it was she was oh my God, she was Adam Sandler looks so good out there. She got him, I guess, Adam Sandler out of that, those shorts and that big sweater that he wears or something. Because she styles. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I watched the Rachel Zoe Project trailer just because I didn't know what
I was
it was.
What did I miss?
Oh no, I'm so sorry. No, but it was she was looking at a bunch of people on the red carpet, and she was like, "Can you believe that I got Adam Sandler to get out of his big shorts and sweater?" And it seemed. I couldn't get a good read of her from the trailer, because you're right, the environment is completely different. Who do you think immediately she'll be drawn to in the Beverly Hills universe once she just pops in?
I wonder who they'll say she's friends with.
Kyle?
First of all, maybe. I could see either Dorit wanting to glom onto her as a fashionista, but I could also see them feuding or something.
Whoa.
I really don't know. That's the thing. But I don't know how much you'll love the show because it's so fashion heavy. She's funny. it's kind of just like, it does have that like verite quality that we were talking about, like from Days of Yore, where it's real because they're preparing for events that are real that you see the aftermath of, where they wore what they're scrambling to put together. Like, it's kind of cool in that way. And the relationships are funny. She has this bitchy assistant, Taylor, who's just like hates life and is kind of like she's really mean to Brad, who is now has gone on to be famous, Brad Goreski. He like does all those housewives impersonation videos and currently he stole Demi Moore from Rachel Zoe and now styles Demi Moore. So everything you saw her wearing for like the Oscars and like the Met Gala in the past like few years was him. And I think part of their falling out was that he like stole her client when they split.
Wow.
Because she used to be just one of many, and then he took like her, which was one of the big ones. There's an episode where Rachel styles her for the cover of Harper's Bazaar, where there's like a giraffe on the beach. It's a very like Dali-esque moment. So yeah, if you're like into fashion, it's so much more exciting.
She'll fit right in then in Beverly Hills. Remember, Sutton had a huge, if I remember correctly, had a huge Dali.
Yes.
You remember that Salvador Dali party she had in her tennis court?
Oh yes.
Some
people got it, some people didn't.
Too bad Rachel Zoe wasn't cast last season, because she would have loved that. Well, yeah, I have no idea going in what this means, so I'll be seeing it like a new cast member. This is kind of how I felt about Jenna Lyons. I remember everybody was going, Riley, Jenna Lyons is joining RHONY. It's going to be one of the biggest deals in the world. She's from J. Crew. She had her own shows. There was that show on HBO Max, and I go, okay, I'm ready to appreciate Jenna Lyons. And then it was like, oh, not knowing anything about her and just judging her based off her performance, it wasn't good at all. Not that I'm saying that Rachel Zoe is comparable, but I'll just be judging her with a complete clean slate because I have no prior knowledge going in, I guess.
Yeah, I think Rachel Zoe has more personality and is funnier than Jenna Lyons. She's going to have to come up with a new shtick, because back in the day, she'd always have all these catchphrases that everyone found so hilarious that I think are pretty stale by now, where she's like, that's bananas. Like, I die. I can't believe that. That's bananas. Like, and I feel like she can't ride on that anymore, but I bet she'll try.
Wow. So her favorite or her big catchphrases were "I die" and did you say that's bananas?
Yeah.
I would love if she came out of the gate just the first scene of Beverly Hills and says that's bananas or yeah. Oh man, well that's something to look forward to for me. Hopefully there'll be some
shot if she tries to resurrect her old catchphrases.
So your Bravo Q score of Rachel Zoe, your Bravo Q score going in, it's high of 100. It's like a
I'm like trepidatious. Like, I loved the show. She's an OG, but my only hope is that she's recently divorced after like 25 years or something like that. So I think that might have like thrown her into a tizzy of a whole new persona. Like, she was at Coachella and Stagecoach this year, and she was wearing like a bikini top and like drinking and stuff. And I was like, she never did anything this fun back in the day. Like, she was always working, so she didn't really get to like do that much.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, maybe she's like nuts now.
Yeah, and that could be good. Wow. All right. Well, great. Well, the jury's out for me, but we'll see. I think it's good news. I think Beverly Hills, we agreed, needed a little bit of a shot in the ass, so to speak. Yeah.
She's at least like a power player. Like, it's a good get for them. Like, it's like juicy.
Do you think that was just a good organic casting decision where they're like, Rachel Zoe's been on the back burner, we had that show, now it's time to give her a chance in the new universe, and Beverly Hills is a perfect spot for her?
I'm sure Andy's had her in his back pocket this whole time, because she was a breakout star. I think they were always hoping she would come back in some capacity.
All right. Well, my Bravo Q score for her, not knowing her at all, is 75 out of 100.
Okay. Yeah. It's hers.
Based off what you said.
It's hers to win.
Yeah. She's got 25% to go high and a way way down to go low if she flops when she comes in and just says one of those catchphrases right at the start. But all right, okay, that was good casting news. Let's go through the more of this casting news. You and I don't think we were too surprised by this one, but right after we got done recording, probably like an hour after, Lexi Wood of Summer House announced that she was going to be spreading her wings and flying away from the Summer House in the Hamptons. I forget her statement. It said, like, I wish that summer would have been better. That kind of sucked. I think I'm going to go on reality television again at some point soon. So
she was like, at least I stood up for women. And all the comments are like yourself?
Really? So the people said that kind of stuff on the statement?
Yeah, I mean, it was so long, and not to get ahead of it, but Bryn did the same thing where I was like, I ain't reading all that. I really can't be doing that.
I read all of Bryn's. I liked it.
It was like the Taylor Swift statement when she bought all of her music.
Yeah.
I'm like, I cannot read that. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, yeah, I read Taylor Swift's too. She goes,
That was fucked up.
She goes, I got my music back. Oh my God, yeah. The photos when Taylor Swift got her music back were really bad. I thought it was Photoshop where she was just, all of her records were around her, but I think she was actually holding them. Anyway, okay, Lexi, I was 50-50. Fully, I didn't know what to expect about Lexi Wood. I can imagine them trying, I think you were probably right. You were more right than I was. I thought that they could try to make Lexi Wood happen again if she established any more connections in the house. But it doesn't seem like she did that. And then I also thought it wouldn't be, out of the realm of possibility that they would just bring her back just for the drama with Jesse, and just pretend like she had made relationships with Amanda and Gabby and Lindsay enough. So I was a little bit surprised by this, that they just decided, because Lexi still, for whatever we said about her and that conflict overall, it still was 60% of the overall storyline of last season was dedicated to that. So I don't really know. I guess if you're not an organic fit in this house at this point, they probably just don't want you there and trust that the cast of Summer House will deliver season 10 without you there, Lexi, there.
Yeah, I mean, I kept seeing her defenders online being like, wow, like she carried the whole season. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm like, but that wasn't like her choice or her doing. That was because she was dating the other person on the show, and they framed it that way. Like, it wasn't that she was giving, it was that they wanted to focus on the disastrous romance. So like that could happen again with someone else.
Yeah, I felt that way too. By the end of Summer House, you and I both said that the entire relationship between them was kind of overblown, and we were both over it, and we were definitely, I think, over Lexi's the power she was wielding, I guess, from that storyline, and doing everything that she could with it to kind of overstate its importance, was a little frustrating towards the end. So it's not shocking to me. And I just had, after watching the reunion and part 2 of the reunion specifically, where once they got away from Lexi and we were just talking about the cast that we love, I just have so much faith that we don't need Lexi at all for the future of Summer House. No offense,
Yeah.
Definitely there's a blip in there that's dedicated to Lexi, but probably not the best for her, for her future potentially. And definitely the Summer House cast will just kill it next summer, no matter what, without Lexi.
I haven't watched Next Gen NYC yet, but I keep being like, put her on there. But I think she might be like decently older than a lot of them, but she just feels younger, no matter how much you tell me that she's in her late 20s.
I know. You say, how old's Lexi? I close my eyes and I say 24.
Right.
And I think she's what, 28?
7, 8, something like that. I haven't watched Next Gen yet. I swear that I will. I've been binging Miami like a freak, trying to catch up to the premiere, which I finished today. So we'll talk about that later this week.
I can't wait. Wow, that is so fun. I just popped my little eyes over to Next Gen NYC when it was on.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it. Mm-hmm. I don't like young people at all. Anyone under 24, I don't think they have very much value at all. But I actually kind of liked that I like the New York stuff that they were talking about. I kind of, because I love that New Yorkers, the way they talk about New York, that's one of my favorite things in the world. And they were like, who's that influencer that went to jail that they made that Netflix show about, and she was like conning?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anna Delvey.
I don't know if it was even that reference, but it was kind of like, we threw a party for Anna Delvey when she got out. We hosted it at Catch 42, and it was in the underground layer of Catch. And it's just like, I love that kind of weird stuff. And so they're talking about that nonstop. And then I think this one cast member who's maybe 1 year older or 2 years older than everybody, she keeps making When Harry Met Sally references. And then Riley and Brooks are like, we have no idea what television show you're talking about. And I thought that was kind of fun. So I'm going to give it a huge full, instead of just one eye closed, one eye open, I'm going to give two eyes on it, and maybe we'll talk about it someday.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested in hearing from the Bierman girl.
The Bierman girl is spreading the news about Croy and Kim. Kim is, unfortunately, she's been taking all of Ariana's money. There's not a Christmas where the Bierman children will get a gift. They get their own money taken from them and then given gifts, because Kim and Croy are having major financial issues. I think Kim is addicted. I hope she won't take umbrage with this. I think she's addicted to gambling.
Yeah. Like I said, if you watched Don't Be Tardy, which I know you did to a certain extent, they would show her blowing, like, she would go up to get her chips and she'd be like, give me 30 grand. And they'd be like, pardon?
Yeah. I got to I always tell you, I got to the, I got to the era where she had that chef that became the second on the call sheet cast member.
Chef Tracy Bloom. Ask me why I know that. I can't tell you. I don't know a lot about what's going on planet Earth, but I remember that.
Yeah, she's doing good. I said I popped out, but I want to go back. I actually had the most fun of my life watching that show. Okay,
good
so
times.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so the Biermans, Riley is in it. Marks is in it. If I remember correctly, it kind of just seems really silly and like I go, what are they doing? And Megan was like, they're in a loft. And I go, why is Brooks wearing this pink wig? And who's that other cast member wearing a pink wig? And she goes, that's Meredith, his mom. And I go, Meredith and Brooks are wearing pink wigs in this loft in New York. Like, you gotta see it.
Okay.
It's like
you're selling me. I gotta say. Okay, that sounds great. Has there been 2 already? Maybe.
So.
Well, as of this record, probably. Okay, I'm not going to say this isn't exciting, but Mia from Potomac is back, and the only thing that makes me sad is that
Monique, I think.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sorry.
Mia, no, I know why you're confused. Mia left Potomac this season, and then Monique said, "Thanks for keeping my seat warm."
Yes. Yeah. Was it friend of? They said.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I got to be honest. I was never a huge Monique fan.
No, I would only have brought her back if T'Challa was still alive, and now that he's not with us, I'm like, we don't need you.
I know. It could have, it could have really had a lot of impact if the season just started out with T'Challa kind of.
She
what
better
do birds do?
Get a new bird.
Yeah. So, what do you think about that news? Besides that,
it's interesting that they're going back to the well, I guess, instead of starting over.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a power move, I would say, for franchises that have lasted a long time to be able to have cast members from the early era pop back in instead of recasting. It's like, let's just see what happened in your 4 years
that was
off.
Like when Charisse kept coming back, and I was like, oh, you're from like back in the day.
Yeah, it's kind of just it means that the legacy of Potomac is so rich now that in addition to casting new people, they can also just go back to the past, which is a thing we've seen on almost every other franchise that's lasted over 10 years.
Yeah.
OC and Beverly Hills have
Anna
done that.
On season 6 of Miami.
Oh.
Anna Quinciones or whatever her name is. I was like, oh, I remember her.
Oh, of course. Does she? If I remember correctly, Anna pops into that Mother's Day brunch and everyone leaves because they cannot stand the sight of Anna. Am I correct in that?
She's a demon from hell. And she's like, what did I do?
Yeah. Oh, but Anna was kind of, well, never mind. We'll talk about Miami next. Did we say that? We're going to talk about Miami next episode of Turtle Time. So we'll talk about that. Okay. Well, you said something. Okay. Any more casting updates that we have to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There is just this Atlanta tea.
All right. I'll talk about that, and then I want to talk about the OC trailer because we just mentioned OC. So let's end with the best thing, which is the OC trailer, the Brit Eady stuff. So Brit, sued Bravo for $20 million and said, "I have been defamed. I never saw the photo that Kenya blew up in Kenya Moore Hair Spa.
Yeah.
I never saw the photo. I assumed that it was a photo of me doing an intimate act upon another person. I took everybody's word for it. And then the entire season was sort of built around that assumption. And Kenya was fired for it. We know all of this, what happened. Brit said that photo, upon inspection, she was looking in the garbage bin outside of production headquarters and she saw those big blown up photos of a sexually explicit image. When she looked at it, that was not her. It was someone else. And so she feels like the entire season's arc was based off a defaming lie because she was introduced into the universe with this sort of scandal, which is not something that anybody wants, like as one of the entries on their Wikipedia as a public person. So in an effort to get not revenge, vengeance or justice. She's suing for $20 million, and also she didn't go to the reunion. So we showed that you and I looked at the reunion seating chart, and it was the wildest chart I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Cynthia is on it. Lopsided as hell. You've never seen... Pull up the seating chart, everybody.
We were literally like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it was before this news. So we were like, she's not on there. Cynthia is... Kenya's not.
I've never thought a seating chart was fake because they're like always real and they happen all the time. But I was like, is this one fake? Cynthia was on it. Porsche and Shamia are obviously neck and neck, head and head. And then Drew was last chair. I was like, damn, that's like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked in, unfortunately. It's been bad of me. I've been negligent on Atlanta, but I just did not understand this at all. But Brit skipped the reunion, and my thoughts are thus. Should I say what my thoughts are? So I think that Bravo, unfortunately, for people who want vengeance upon Bravo, I don't know who listens who wants Bravo to get their comeuppance. I'm sure there's some people listening, probably. I don't think that you should be able to accuse Bravo of defamation for the actions of rival cast members.
Yeah. That's
definitely a slippery slope in which we've talked about it. An example that leapt to my mind was when Tamara accused... Ryan Pedranti and Jennifer Pedranti of the Otani gambling scandal. We are all familiar with this. We all remember this. Tamara accused Ryan of the feds beating down his door to get those gambling winnings that he was embezzling from Otani. And if Jennifer Pedranti had a worse season and she was maybe on the cusp of busting out and they said, hey, we're not renewing your contract. If Jennifer Pedranti wanted to seek revenge or vengeance or go out with a bang and say, I'm never going to be on this show again, let's say that Bravo defamed me by letting a cast member say that I was raided by the feds. And then we lose everything. It's a house of cards. If you can't defame on these shows, it's over. We've said this before. You want to be able to defame, say libelous, scandalous rumors.
Slander is king.
Slander is
obviously.
Slander is king, and you got to run with it. There's levels of scandal. There's levels of defamation. There's some stuff that people would never touch. Those are usually the hot button issues, and usually those get corrected by the audience. When Katie on OC, another OC example, was talking about Emily's kids, everybody said, wait. We don't like this. You're spreading scandalous rumors that involve children. There's kind of checks and balances within the universe. And I think that Brit, unfortunately, started to have a flop-out season. I haven't watched it. I really liked Brit at the start. I thought that was the one cast member that I actually thought was the most vibrant. When she had the fake-out gym wear party. I was like, this is the best, most embarrassing thing of this season. It was amazing. When they had to play golf because the event wasn't set up, it's like, that's a perfect new cast member, flopping like a fish sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you get that all the time. But I think that she just thought that her arc was one that was not going to bring her a future on this show, potentially. And I think that she wanted to sort of make sure that she got the last word on this defamation thing. That's my opinion on it, but how do you feel?
It's kind of giving publicity stunt that will probably fizzle, because I don't really know how you're gonna prove that. Might get dismissed like Baldoni's charge, not charge, but a complaint, I guess you would call it. I just, sorry to keep bringing up Miami, but I just watched the one where Alexia has a lawyer. She like hosts a party where a lawyer is sitting in the center of the group to answer legal questions. And I was like, every city should do this, where they're like, then Nicole brings up like slander, and he explains the difference between libel and slander. He's like, one is written and one is spoken. And like, they should just do that for every Bravo, like to cover their ground, almost like an HR course where they're like, if someone here says something writes something libelous or says something slanderous about you, like, this is what that means, and Bravo is exempt.
Yeah, no, I think the exact same thing. Also, we should just throw in an allegedly for us of any of the shit that I just said. Allegedly, that news was all. I say. Yeah, all that news was allegedly what I thought about this Brit stuff. No, I think that in addition to the huge 100-page contract that these Bravo celebrities probably sign when they enter into the Bravo universe, I don't think it's out of this world to be like, unfortunately, given the nature of the show, we are not responsible for what rival cast members do in this space. Unfortunately, it's just not something that we can protect against. We're exuding
documentarian's code to record without interruption.
Would the guy who made that movie where that guy starts barfing at the end of it,
something of
the silence, the look
death,
of silence,
killing. The sound of killing? The
sound of killing. Would that guy, Joshua...
Active killing?
The active killing, would that guy, documentarian Joshua, be like, if that guy started barfing when he's thinking about the killing stuff that he did, would he go, we can't have this in? It's a documentarian's code. You have to keep this stuff. And I just... I think that these rumors and gossip and stuff, it's not the best fodder for entertainment for me, but it is kind of a life force, a kind of an undercurrent, 40% of the entertainment of Bravo shows, whether that's good or bad. And
yeah, and depending on the juice behind it, it could have better or worse returns, like on the episode of the Valley. I almost called it the Hills. That's where I'm at right now. Like the wedding ring shit, I'm like, if we talk about this even one more time about where it's from, who said it, who spread it, who shared it, I'm like, we simply must end this conversation because it's so inconsequential. It's such a shitty piece of shit rumor that I don't give a fuck. Whereas like on Atlanta, when it was like Candy has a sex dungeon where she drugs people and drags them down there without consent, I'm like, we really need to figure out who said this.
Yes.
Like, no matter what. For
sure. And even that though, you do, I want, maybe only for me, the ratio is like 20% that, like it's kind of show don't tell or whatever. I want the action. I want 80% action of the stuff that's going to be talked about for 3 episodes versus what these simmering rumors are. Right. So the Valley, you're exactly right. This ring rumor is garbage. The fact that all of these storylines are taking 4 extra episodes than they should have. So I don't know. You just have to allow gossip and rumors to exist in the Bravo universe. Well, I don't want to say this, I guess. I was just saying, I wanted to say this one thing about Brit where it's just like, I guess if I was Brit, which, I don't know if I'll ever be in that situation, but I would have been like, can I know what was going on because I want to combat this a little bit. Not that it's her duty to do that, but I would have definitely been kind of wanting to know the facts and not because kind of it's like if you don't fight a narrative can be painted for you by the other cast members. And so sometimes this is probably the worst example to use because this is like the most toxic subject. But for smaller instances, you can imagine a world where people, when they fight back, to kind of reclaim the narrative so that other people, like, let's say Tamra, don't write it for you. There's an example of like Tamra versus Jennifer, where Jennifer has to sort of, fight back against the sort of prevailing rumors that Tamra spreads about everybody.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sucks that, well, I guess like she wasn't there when Kenya did that. Like she left, and then even like some of her friends left before that was even shown, and they were like, you don't want to know what's going on in there. So, but it sucks that she was like, well, stuff like that does exist online, so I believe it, instead of being like, what was it?
yeah, I guess, that was a little bit my thoughts too. I was like, I would want to know, because like, is this sexually explicit image of me doing this? Was it this, or was it this?
Which one was it?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. I just don't want it to become where when a cast member kind of flames out, which we have one and done cast members all the time. You and I have probably recapped 8 of them or 9 of them in our run of Turtle Time. You don't want Route B to be, I am going to sue the shit out of Bravo because I hated my experience, and the cast members uncovered. Like Katie, that'd be Katie on, God, I'm talking about OC. Like, I'm just thinking about OC. If Katie was like, hey, you brought up those rumors of me when I chased after that guy in my car to try to run him down when, you know what I'm talking about? And then
she's back.
I know. So it's almost like it's almost like they're trying to. They know that this is the one last thing they can do if they get kicked to the curb by Bravo, and I don't want that to be an out for everybody, unless it's very legitimate, which it always could be. So those are my thoughts. You want to talk about that final thing, because we're nearing on 30 minutes of news?
Yes. Orange County trailer came out like a couple days ago. What was your gut?
My gut was, I like this, and it brings me joy.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it brings me joy. So I said, I was like, joyful. I feel joy. Joy. Oh, this brings me joy. But then my second thoughts about thinking about it for a little bit, I was like, I'm kind of surprised that they just did a turnover with the cast that you and I kind of thought was a little lackluster last season. Little stale. Is like, whoa, they said, hey, all right, you guys are all back. It's perfect. No notes. Katie's here. No new cast members, it seems like. Oh, no, sorry. Gretchen and Slade are friends. Right. That's a big shakeup. But for the most part, they're kind of doing a retread of last season, where we got John Jansen and Bellino from the past, from the legacy of OC, and now they're doing it again. So I'm worried that maybe they didn't take enough notes or stock of last season, and I also didn't really like the framing mechanism of the lie detector test, just because it looked a little gimmicky to me.
Yeah, they really relied on it for the trailer.
Yeah.
It was like a large portion of it.
Yeah, and I'm almost like, what can happen in these dynamics now? They're so well entrenched. Like, I could write you right now like a 10-page paper on the dynamics between all of the cast members of the OC, and I don't know at this point what is going to change. Like Tamra versus Heather, Tamra versus Shannon, Tamra's simmering feud with Emily and Gina. But then again, though, it's like but there is some comfort in just seeing the same cast members. If they can bring it, then all power to them. If they can do it this season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm excited for Tamra to get pissed off that Gretchen is back to annoy her from beyond the grave. Like, that looks kind of fun to me, for Tamra to be like, I've been here all this time and these bitches keep coming back that I thought that I like outlived.
Tamra has to vanquish them all again. It's like I thought you bit the dust when I ethered you earlier in the run. It's like, no, I'm back. It's like, oh damn, Alexis Bellino, I gotta kick you to the curb again. Gretchen, I liked Gretchen. Slade Smiley is probably one of my least favorite people in the Bravo universe. I find him, well, people be like, oh
you
my
were
God.
Team Greg.
Yeah, I loved Greg. I loved Greg so much. Slade Smiley, I find him repulsive. But I'm okay with getting a check-in. Gretchen says, one time me and Slade Smiley were having sex and I broke his penis.
Right.
I said, okay, all right, well, I'll hear more about that.
Have you? It's so funny because their daughter looks exactly like Slade, but she has
Wow.
like pageant hair like Gretchen, so it looks like a little Slade wearing like a Dolly Parton wig.
Oh my God! Wow. When I was first watching OC and Megan told me like don't Google Gretchen, I was like, why? What the hell? And then finally, when I was able to Google Gretchen at the end of her run, I was like, she's still with Slade. I like could not believe it. I was like, I thought that was one of the worst relationships I'd ever seen in my life.
Oh my God. He's like a real go-getter.
Oh, he really is. Well, so
yeah, I don't know. I think we'll just have to see. There wasn't like too much evidence of. It looks like it'll just be sort of like goofy as hell.
yeah, it seems
You know?
it seems like they're kind of just like OC is goofy and silly and filled with antics. It's kind of like the three Amigas energy kind of spread through the full ethos of the cast. Vicky's not on it this season. She said that after she was in Dark Side of Reality, the Hulu documentary, Andy said, what the hell were you thinking when you did that? And so she's not allowed to come back. And then the lie detector people say, Heather, would you rather be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? And Heather Dubrow goes, and she looks around back and
Well, it
forth.
looks like her entire storyline is going to be the way that they're going to low-key do $1 Million Listing still. Like, it's all the guys from $1 Million Listing are just on this now.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's a part of Heather's storyline to segue her into some kind of different show. I need to know more about Heather Dubrow and Terry's disintegrating marriage.
They were at Craig's the other night. He gave his take on Kylie Jenner's breast implants.
They were at Craig's, the
I think
restaurant,
so.
and they caught a glimpse of Terry and Heather, and they said, Terry, what do you think about Kylie offering that advice?
He had a whole spiel ready to go. He was like, I love that she's being open about this. I just think that people need to take it very seriously when they get cosmetic procedures done, that it is still as dangerous as any other surgery. Like, he did like a whole diatribe, and Heather was like, I think Kylie is great.
Wow, oh, that's awesome. Now, if you'll excuse me, we're going to have a wonderful romantic dinner at Craig's. I just, I wanted a little bit of a peek behind the mask, because I've said this a lot, but you remember last season when they got out of that dentist's office and Heather goes, Terry, she goes, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah.
I really hope that the producers say, we uncovered a horrible kind of dynamic between you two under the surface. Can we get a little bit more into that?
She'll never allow it.
No, but I'm excited for the OC to come back. I can't forget how we felt at the end, that it was a little bit of a dud, but we'll see. Speaking of a little bit of a dud, just kidding.
JK, keep listening.
Just kidding. I would say only 20 minutes of it were kind of dud territory, and then the last, all the Jackson Brittany stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
we're
As
talking.
always, it's like on their shoulders completely, because it's the only thing that's consequential.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's really all about Jax and Brittany at this point, and the fallout and the real effects that has, like, and the friends who know them. Like, Kristen obviously gets some runoff from being a part of the legacy of Jax and Brittany, so she gets some dynamic scenes. But the rest of the cast is having a little bit more trouble, let's just say. This episode of The Valley that we are about to recap was called When One Door Closes.
Forecloses.
When One Door Forecloses.
Which is pretty good.
I like that too. I think they're on a huge run. They had The Biggest Snake in the Grass. Mm-hmm. Then they had When One Door Forecloses. I think they had a couple heavy hitters back in the day too. So this was a good title. And I have to say right before we start this that Chili's just did a huge campaign with Janet and Brittany, where they are serving $6 margaritas for the entire month of June. You can get it's called Margarita of the Month, and Janet and Brittany were just drinking a bunch of margaritas. It was like a Chili's promotion. So I'm so proud of them, and I wanted to get my ass to Chili's immediately when I saw that.
When are they going to pay us to say that? We'll say it. You said it right. You said it right now for free.
I love Chili's. I love Chili's. I remember I raced over to get those espresso martinis when Katie Maloney and Sheena Shea handcrafted them. And now I'm ready for this $6 margarita month. I can't even believe that. I'll say that for any amount of money.
Yeah. even just free margaritas.
Even just free margaritas. Okay, this episode of The Valley starts out with Zach and Jasmine doing a very dangerous activity on the road. They are roller skating with no abilities of roller skaters, and at one point Jasmine starts to careen off the road and almost goes into the street while cars are driving.
The cameraman puts his arm out. You see him. He's like, all right, I'll stop you, I guess.
Yeah, it was not right to take their roller skating into that environment when they didn't have brakes, and it could have been really, really bad if they weren't surrounded by a production crew. Yeah,
they should have gone to Moonlight Rollerway in Glendale for safety.
Yeah, what the hell were they thinking roller skating like that on the side of the road?
There's like a brief intersection of most of the girls and Jared Lips getting their hair done and gossiping. I didn't even write down what they were talking about because I didn't care.
They just said, "Oh, right." Well, they said what we ultimately know, which is like there's a bunch of shit I think at Jax's, and they're like, "Is he going to sell it on eBay?"
Right.
And then that causes Brittany to laugh heartily, and she goes, "He was even selling my Jenny Craig bags, the big bags that they give you from Jenny Craig as a whole, all of their products." She goes, "He was selling my Jenny Craig bags on eBay for $30," and then they all have a huge laugh, kind of taking the piss out of Jax a little bit there.
We need to do our due diligence and find his eBay page.
I know someone should tell us what it is, because when I looked again, that one that we used to go to was dismantled. I think he was like, they're on to me, you know? So, but he probably has a new one. He should be, I say, embrace your eBay thing. Like, you know how people, Bravo celebrities, when they get called out for a thing and then they decide to own it? He should own his eBay habits and start signing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Jenny Craig bags. Sign it. It's now worth $45. That little Avoid the Noid doll from Domino's. Sign it on its foot. That says Jax on it. And then bump it up $15. Embrace that. Don't you think that's an okay idea?
Do you think that people want to give him money anymore?
I would wait for I would have done this in the past. Yeah. And then second off, wait 2 or 3 years and they'll become, I don't know, maybe collector's items.
One news item we skipped was that he had to cancel most of his tour, which... It was funny because the last thing he said on the after show last week was like, Brittany can have the podcast. I'll start all over. I know mine will be a success. And I was like, I don't know about that, brother.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I've seen some clips from it, and it's a little eerie. It's kind of like, what is going on here? Like, what is he talking about for 45 minutes? I would almost go just to see what the itinerary or the schedule of events is in the mind of Jax. Because I saw it seemed like a very solemn occasion, kind of like in a dark room, and there was like maybe 7 or 8 people scattered, and he's kind of like, it kind of was like, it had like a little bit of like, I'm trying to think of like what comedian, like sort of like Bill Maher-esque energy, a little bit like...
What's it called? The Weirdo Zone? What's his cigar show called?
Yeah, you're in the Weirdo Zone with Bill Maher, or you're in the... I don't know.
It's called, hold on, Bill Maher.
Boys Lounge?
Podcast. Oh, Club Random.
Club Random. Yeah, I kind of felt like it looked like, this is where Jax lost me. He immediately, there was just one chair on stage, and he immediately walked out to no... audience murmuring. He's in full black, and then
full Tim and Eric, where they like take the sound out, and there's like one clap, and you hear the footsteps like.
Yeah, and then he just I don't know why he does this, because the chair was positioned towards the audience. He takes it and he turns it around so he can sit backwards in it, and then he takes his hat that was front facing. And then he turns that backwards. And I was like, what's the point of putting all this stuff forwards just so you could turn it backwards? It's kind of an odd start.
Him sitting that way. There was like a screening of The Valley, and he was watching it, and the episode was all about how horrific he is, and like and he's just watching it like nodding along. And I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, remember those rumors that Jax was having his Valley parties and he was sitting with his chair the opposite way, and he'd be like, "This sucks. Vanderpump Rules sucks. Lala's fake."
Yeah, he'd be like, "Total bullshit. Show went down the tubes.
This show sucks. The Valley's good." Like, oh my god. Okay. Yeah. All right. That was about Jax, what we just said.
Yes,
now let's talk about Kristen and Luke's housewarming party for that new house that we saw. This house is awesome. I don't know. Well, I like houses like this.
It has a cool pool.
I have house envy where if I need, well, they rent it, but I have
They probably pay up the asshole for this house that is in like disrepair.
What do you think? 4,500 a month?
I guess I need to see the cross streets.
Me too. I'm so bad at rent or like even knowing anything, but we'll find out. But
reverse search the painted.
Yes. I knew you wouldn't like this, but Brittany comes in and she immediately compliments that they painted over that fireplace with black paint. Brittany goes, "It looks a lot better."
Ugly.
And then
I've said it before, but I'm like, I cannot believe that she bought a house pre-COVID that she sold. Like, I will never recover from that information.
Well, and you mean, and then what ended up happening? Like,
well, just that she could have had like a mortgage cheaper than the rent of this shittier house. Now, I
think that guy. Remember Alex? He said, I've got the perfect apartment, for you.
She got scammed.
Yeah, that was horrible. But at least we have to give credit. We saw those 2 apartments last year, and we were really bummed out when her and Luke. Don't you remember? We were bummed out last year when Kristen. I'm glad they have this house. I think it looks kind of fun.
They have a pool. That's a huge win. I mean, the worst of the financials is at the end of this episode. We'll talk about that later. There's some horrible new Brittany money talk. So we go to this housewarming. They immediately make it clear that there's a new player to be entered into the chessboard. This girl Jenna, who
was that a new cast member reveal? It
felt like heavy-handed. Yeah. Apparently, they met. Zach met her through Sheena. He said it's like the Kevin Bacon 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like you always meet everyone through Sheena Shea.
But there's one. Yeah. But he said even different than Kevin. It's. You can get 6 from Kevin, but with Sheena, it's just 1. Is Jenna from Vanderpump Rules? We're gonna get. Everyone's gonna hate us if we don't know this. But I haven't gotten to Jenna's era in Vanderpump Rules on our wonderful Patreon series, so I thought it seemed like this was a Vanderpump Rules.
She looked a bit familiar, but I couldn't clock it, and I didn't Google it.
Me neither. No offense. Jenna will come up. No offense to not remember Jenna, but she'll come a little bit later. I have to talk about this though. A scene that kind of was pushed aside for a little bit gets brought up because Danny goes, they go, "What did you do today, Danny? Did you get Botox?" And Danny said him and Zach went to go get, not Botox. He goes, "I know what you're thinking. No, I didn't get Botox. I got Scrotox." And then when Zach explains it, he says people get it so that their scrotum becomes even longer than before, so you can have a really, really long scrotum. So he surprised Danny with this in the moment, and Danny said, "I don't think I want to do this."
He didn't confirm if he actually did.
I don't think. Oh, if Zach did it or Danny.
Zach, we watched him do it.
No, Danny went outside. Danny went outside and he was drinking a bunch of water. He goes, "I don't want to get Scrotox right now." But then the producer, I didn't know much. I didn't know that. I didn't know this new fact, which is that this surgery is being implemented where it makes them way lower. But then the producer tells Zach, sorry if this is too much, but
Scrot minute.
He just says that they normally, that happens naturally. And Zach goes, "Well, I don't know what I was thinking then." So
I would have assumed that it would have been to bring him up. Like that's what you would want.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But then Jesse says he would have done that. So it was wrong for Zach to call Danny to go to that appointment. Jesse would have done that. Anyway, then then Jasmine says, I didn't know how to think about this. Jasmine goes, "Hey, I really want to talk to Janet and Jasmine because there's a bad energy here between us." And she goes, "Hey, can we talk soon? Some other time, because I really want to clear the air." And I was like, that's not really how this... Yeah, Jasmine says to Janet and Jason, she goes, I want to clear the air. And I was kind of like, that probably could happen now. I don't know.
I just don't give a fuck about this. I'm like, I get so like lost in a haze every time that stuff comes up where I'm like, I cannot focus on this for a single second more.
I agree completely. I felt also like I didn't know who anyone was at a certain point in this episode and what their grudges were, and that's not good in the middle of the season. I mean, also on Vanderpump Rules, you not to compare, but you clearly know the dynamics of the cast members and who holds the grudges and when they have them and when they end, and it's very clear cut. It's like they're very sharp lines of like, I know this relationship. And then I was like, all of a sudden I was like, Jasmine and Jason don't like each other anymore. And then I'm pretty sure Jasmine liked Janet until last episode and then didn't like her. And then now she's apologizing to her. It's like, they're shaking up the dice. These cast members are shaking up the dice way too much and rolling them for us to see. And it's too much for me to keep up with, even for you and I both, I assume, while we're recapping.
Yeah, like, she'll be like, Janet's a Karen terrorist piece of shit. And then she'll be like, they're my oldest friends. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she said, you're a Karen, you're awful, despicable, you're a vibe killer, you ruin every day of my life. And then she goes, I actually have always loved Janet, and I can't wait to apologize to her. It's like, well, what the hell was that scene on the beach that we saw?
No.
So that's kind of a bummer. And then Jenna comes over. Jenna, this new friend of, possibly. I didn't really think that this revelation was that wild.
Not interesting at all.
So this is kind of like, I don't really, I'm sad to say this because I love the cast of The Valley very much and I have the highest hopes for The Valley and I love everything about it, but I don't know if this is apart from Jackson Brittany, stuff. This is all really, really, really fizzling.
Yeah,
and
they're trying to run on, there was some fun to the honey timeline just because it was goofy and kind of stupid, where I was like, haha, like she was cheating on him and got the honey was the evidence. But guess what? If she did cheat on him with the guy she's dating now, okay, like, you guys hated each other's guts. It's not really that big of a deal. It's not like it's Jackson Kristen finally revealing that they fucked. Like, it's not, I don't care. And so they're having this chick Jenna join the party specifically for this reason, like almost like Miami Girl-esque, where she's like, guess what, Jesse, I dated Aaron. And he goes, who's Aaron? Which I was like, same, like, I don't care.
Yeah, that was really funny that he had to think who Aaron was for a second. I really liked that.
And she's like, Michelle's boyfriend. He was like, oh, okay. And he's like, when? And she's like, 5 years ago, and then again a year and a half ago. And Jesse's like, well, that's interesting because I heard that a year and a half ago that Michelle was with him, and then she was trying to call him and couldn't get a hold of him, so she showed up at his house and he was with another girl, and maybe it was her.
Yeah, I was like that.
So? Yeah,
and I was like, that's not that interesting. There's not enough evidence of it. It's just kind of like a random thought you had. And I don't think that Jenna is not the whistleblower that she thinks she is. She's also like, I liked him.
Yeah, she's like, we had a good relationship.
She's like, which is like, I like that because it's real. But it's also the first time I've ever heard that where an ex comes into the universe. She's like, I really liked him. I mean, we dated twice. I kind of wanted to know more. I wish someone would have sat her down, Jenna, and said, so wait, 5 years and then a year and a half ago, you guys like rekindled things. How long did that last? And you know what I mean? I've never heard a relationship
Give her
like
a confessional.
I just never done that. I've never done that before personally. I would have liked to know what happened in that 3.5 years when they decided to like rekindle things after that stretch. But we don't get that at all. No. We just get how this relates to possibly, maybe Michelle cheated on Jesse.
It's like Jesse would love to have information that could let him frame Michelle as a cheater and a horrible person. And I'm like, that's like his thing, and so I don't care that much personally about what she did, because I'm like, you guys need to get divorced ASAP anyway. Yeah,
Jesse's kind of simmering on the back burner a little bit too these last couple episodes. I'd say the Jesse pot got moved to the back, and they kept it on low. And I also am going to say this now before I forget it, but I kind of feel like Sheena and Lala are on low power mode in the Valley as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a purposeful thing, because I know that they can be two of the most dynamic stars in the Bravo universe if they wanted to. I almost feel like, is this like the day rate energy that they're giving? They're being paid $1,500 a day, down from, whatever their episodic rate was on Vanderpump Rules, but they want to keep in the Bravo zeitgeist this way. But they're like, we're not giving you shit for $1,100 a day, so this is what you get. The cast members can come over to my house, I'll make one joke, and then that's it. I don't spread any gossip, I don't fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of thought like this would be a little bit of a return to form and give a Valley Vanderpump Rules burst of energy to the Valley, and that hasn't happened at all. No offense to them.
They have like an a la carte menu since they're day players, where it's like, if you want me to pull a Miami girl, that's a triple day rate. If you want someone to cry on my shoulder, that's like a day and a half, like time and a half. If you want me to spread a rumor, that's top dollar.
Yes. Yeah. For this rate, you get very mild jokes, and the cast members can meet at my house.
Right. Okay, we get a quick little blip that it doesn't come up again, so it's for later, that Luke is going to plan this trip to Hawaii to get engaged with Kristen. So,
but it's kind of there's a twist. Planning an engagement party around someone like Doty is one of the hardest things you can do, because Detective Doty is always on the case. So he's got to figure out a way to book this Hawaii trip without her knowing and get her on the plane blindfolded and figure out completely how to surprise her with this engagement. So that'll be fun if he could pull it off. I have a feeling, though, Kristen might have a whiff of this thing.
We will love to see it. Okay, so then we get an update from Brittany. She's telling everyone this, like, part of what we already saw, that Jax came home for the mail, which I'm like, how often? He can go 17 days without his mail. He's not even paying his mortgage. What does he need his mail for?
Yeah, it's Ralph's coupons.
His
what else do you get?
Mailers.
Yeah, Bristol Farms. Obviously, those have the most beautiful coupons you can get.
Ooh, I got a really good Scientology pamphlet today. I meant to send it to you. It's for the Free Winds, the boat. It's a competence and leadership course.
How much? I
need to open it. It says, this summer, take your competence, confront, and production to the next level. There's something about they write competence, like that means something to them because the grammar isn't right.
Right. Take your competence. What was the second word?
Confront.
Take your competence, confront,
and production.
And production. Okay, so it's like those are like the big, probably like highlighted words that they use. Man, if you find out how much, I'm kind of in a I'm in a little bit of a rough spot. I wouldn't mind getting a leadership course on the Free Winds. I just think that I'm kind of going to be a little wary of any paperwork they put in front of me.
We become very confrontational. Oh yeah, million year contract.
All of our reviews all of a sudden for Turtle Time, it's like, wow, there's a lot of what did they say?
Confront.
There's a lot of wow, this podcast is giving confront and what's that? What was the confront? Competence?
Yeah, competence.
And then the third was
production.
Well, this podcast is giving production, confront, and competence now. I swear, I really am being honest.
CCP.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I hope that Scientology doesn't have little trackers where anything that gets said on the internet gets pulled into some AI algorithm for them to find. Yeah. But I swear, if you and I wanted on a lark to pay $150 to go on the Free Winds to take that course, I would do it. I want to see it. I want to learn.
God, I'm so scared.
They wouldn't take us out. Oh, I would worry. I would worry because L. Ron Hubbard loved going to international waters.
I was going to say international waters.
I would. Oh, so okay. Here's my conditions. No paperwork. I'm not signing shit. And also, the boat has to stay docked in wherever
like
the hell
Long Beach or something.
It has to stay in Long Beach. I'm not going. Okay.
So Jax had to come get his confront pamphlet. He, as we know, uncovered the cameras, and he somehow knew, maybe from Jenny herself, I don't know, but that Brittany would be FaceTiming with his sister Jenny. And this is where it all gets so weird. He says, Brittany says that they talk to the quote actual therapist who goes around to places with him. So that means he has like a babysitter when he is free from the facility, which I'm like, again, what is this fucking place?
I have no clue.
They told her that Jax made the girl at the front desk of the facility cry. She was bawling, crying because he forced her to, if anyone called for him, to lie and say that he was going to urgent care. And it turns out the, I guess, real, quote, real therapist was like, he never went to the hospital. And I'm like, I need so much more information. I can't even tell you. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, let's just say you and I are in a vacuum now because we don't have the after show where Jeremiah will get to the bottom of this in 2 seconds and ask Jax this. So Amy and I are living in a different world where we don't know the answer to this. But I said to myself again, I go, oh my God. Like, I didn't believe it, but I thought some, like, high blood pressure issue or something. But, oh, my God. Telling us, like, what was he doing in this therapy center or whatever, the mental health facility? It's like, what the hell was he doing?
And why did they agree to lie about, like, medical information? Like, I'd be like, get out. Like, you're dismissed. Like, you're not allowed to be here anymore. Fuck you.
It would solve a lot of mysteries if Jax revealed where the hell he went.
They'd get shut down immediately.
Right. I guess you're right. But it's just like, I do not understand this environment that he's in. I don't like
he can use his phone, do business, talk to his manager, sign leases, go check his mail. But someone is with him with a leash the whole time.
Yeah, and also and then also spread lies about. I mean, it's all kind of like, it's so compelling in the next scene or 2 scenes from now when Brittany just lays out all of this thing, because it kind of just like tells the world and tells a random person that doesn't know any of this all of the fucking shit that Brittany has been put through, and it's just like so overwhelming and awful. And so she's saying this stuff, and it's again, there's no depth to how low Jax can go at this point for me. And then Jason goes, and she goes, in the podcast, he said he wants In the Mind of Man, or he's going to host it 1 week and have Schwartz have to do it with him, and then I have to host the other one, and then he's going to do this shitty
Great
podcast
marketing where we trade off. We keep the podcast, but then 1 week it's Brittany and 1 week it's Jax.
yeah, and then In the Mind of Man is every other episode on the feed. And then Jason goes, wow, he goes, that's kind of disappointing for me, because he said such a different story last week, and that's
I'm sorry, I'm prepared to say Jason's like an idiot.
I think that no, please take that back. I think
he defends him till the end. He like feels sorry for him at the end, where he's like, I'm not having anything to do with this.
I know. I think that when someone is in your real life, when someone is in your real life and you see all facets of their character and they've relied on you and they've confided in you, and you see them in every different environment, it's kind of a different story of who you can write off. As audience members, we're fickle as hell, and like, you know what I mean? Like, we can write off somebody.
He's lied to him how many times?
Totally, he has. But I think that I feel some sympathy towards Jason, not only because I think he's an amazing person and I've met him and I really, really got along with him really well. I like him a lot. But also because I am also continually surprised by the descent of Jax's madness. I swear, and you tell this to me every week. You go, I think Jax is really, really bad. He's awful. He's a horrible person. Everyone says this, and it's true, and I know it. And on that chaotic neutral, chaotic evil chart, I'm sure his arrow is pointing probably towards chaotic evil, maybe.
He's in the far bottom right corner of chaotic evil.
I know. But I am continually surprised. I think that there was just this sort of youthful spirit to Jax when he was being abhorrent in his younger years that he was not as young as all the other cast members, but he
was like 37.
I know but it had a little bit of like, it just a little bit more. His issues and problems were a little more carefree.
Was such a loser that like he didn't really have any power to wield, so it felt less dangerous because it was like, okay, like the worst you do is like cheat and like lie, and then you get immediately screwed every time. Like you go to jail, you like flop every time. So he always got his comeuppance, and now it's reached this like scary territory where it's like it feels really like dangerous and like dark and bad.
Yeah, and this is just these he's wreaking havoc in his adult life now, and there are victims in this world, people that have relied on him for years and who have loved him, and there's way more consequences, which we've talked about, and he's kind of like doing almost everything wrong in his daily life as an adult in his family life. Like the mortgage stuff is just a small example of him just like making the worst decisions, but they're just on this way greater scale, and they have way deeper ramifications for his family and his life.
We also find out they've been going on for longer than we knew.
But we started this by just saying like you said Jason.
I think he's the new Schwartz. Like Schwartz has been carrying the bag for 20 years, and now he has a new guy to carry the bag.
True, and there's definitely merit to that, and people
he's ruined Schwartz's life like many times.
I know, but I guess I have something in me where I have a really, really high tolerance for people's awful behavior, and I think that Jason is getting surprised in this moment by what's going on. But like for you a little bit, it was kind of shocking to learn that Jax had been telling phone operators to lie for him about going to the emergency room. I'm not shocked
that he would do that. I'm shocked that it was able to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That they let his plan go forth.
All the camera stuff and even the stuff that we're going to talk about, it's like, oh my God. It's so horrible. It's really truly awful. I mean, there's a point of almost, I believe this very rarely, but there's almost a point where it's like your redemption becomes very, very hard at a certain point. And he's really getting to the point here. Do we want to talk about Michelle visiting the next scene? Michelle visiting Lala.
It's just basically the important thing is that I guess, are they really friends? Are they the ones that are really friends? Because I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, I think Michelle became friends with Sheena and Lala. I mean, who's to say? But there was a good bonding moment here.
It seemed a little forced in that, like, you have a shitty ex and I have a shitty ex. Can we talk?
Yeah, because Michelle had the scene with Sheena where she was like, me and Sheena have really bonded. But in my opinion, being kind of a little bit skeptical about everything in this instance, they're probably like, let's hang out a bunch in the off season of the Valley because we know we might be appearing on the Valley. So why not just like forge a quick friendship so that it looks better when we're filming together.
She sort of spoiled this revelation on not just that she could spoil what happened in her actual life, but we were wondering why it hadn't come up, and it turns out that it was in the plans to be brought up. She mentions that, like, in the midst of her divorce, that her mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and that it's looking really bad. It was really sad. She's, like, obviously grappling with that during all of this, which lends credence to basically they're opening up the storyline for the rest of the episode and beyond, that she's pissed that Brittany's getting this whole like major party and everyone's obsessed with her leaving Jax, and she gets like treated like a queen around every corner. They're like, we'll help you get his shit out of the house. We're going to throw you a party. We're going to do all this stuff. And she's like, I'm literally in a divorce and my mom is dying right now.
I like that storyline.
It's sad, but it's it's real.
Yeah, I honestly, I was like, Michelle,
her eye was like twitching at the Jax
I was like,
party.
Sing that to the rafters. I mean, like, I would talk about that all the time. You know, the best things about these shows are when your feelings that you would never say out loud, you actually get to express them and damn the repercussions. And so, like, I was wanting her at the end, and she kind of does. She starts to do it. But I was like, if that's how you feel, tell everyone in the world. Yeah. Let Brittany hear that. Like, it's true. Yeah.
It goes back to that weird thing that's happened ever since Brittany landed in LA, is that everyone infantilizes the shit out of her and feels so bad for her all the time. They felt bad for her for 10 years. And it's like, they don't treat anyone else that way. And I can't quite, is it literally just that they're like, she's so sweet, like she's a little country bumpkin. And I'm like, she's the same as everyone else.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to push back mildly. I agree completely, and there was this real overdoing of treating Brittany like she was this simple, sweet, perfect person on Vanderpump Rules. But I saw this gathering and rallying around her more to be representative of just how much they love Brittany in their lives, more than it was to try to like champion her and cheer her on and pick her up.
Michelle found dead in a ditch.
Yeah,
they didn't like do a single like drinks for her.
Yes, I know, and I completely agree. If I was Michelle, I would feel the exact same way. Like, what you haven't done
me,
one,
I guess.
Yeah, you haven't done one thing for me, but I felt like I normally do feel that way, but in this instance, I just thought like, oh, they're really just rallying around Brittany because I think that they all cherish her in their lives at this point. And now there's much more time spent with Brittany, where she has been, a good person to have in their lives. Whereas on Vanderpump Rules, they immediately started treating Brittany like that within like 3 months of knowing her, and they barely even knew her at that point.
It's also her besties are like Kristen and Zach, who are like the planners.
Yeah,
so it's like makes sense. Michelle doesn't like who would do it for Michelle.
Oh, it's so sad. Jesse.
Yeah. Jesse throws a party for Michelle. Congrats on divorce.
Zach killed it this episode too. We'll get to it, but it was awesome that he did that whole party, and it was his idea. I do want to say one thing. I did like the reveal that Lala said about how the kids. I kind of like this really quickly, that the divorce, that when the kids spend time with the exes, the behavior rubs off on their kids. And she said that Jesse's behavior rubs off on Isabella, and then Lala had to talk about Rand, and she says that Ocean will come into like the store or whatever, and once she's had a big Rand weekend, she'll think that like money is limitless and she could put a bunch of stuff all in the cart. And she goes, no, you weren't taught like that. And then she also says a huge Rand revelation. She says that Rand is rude to people constantly, all the people around him. And I knew he was awful, and I knew he did a bunch of like horrible business practices, and but I didn't think that he was like rude to people in his daily life, because he didn't really give off that energy on camera. So that was, for me, I could have expected it, but it was shocking to me to hear Lala say it.
Wasn't there that whole thing about him like screaming at his assistant and like making crazy demands and like acting like he was like Harvey Weinstein when he's like a piece of shit?
Yeah, they called him, they tried to brand him as Baby Weinstein. And I just meant that I guess I checked in on Randall in season 8 of Vanderpump Rules, and then I checked out completely when he left. I heard all the horrible shit he did, but it was a revelation to me to hear that like Rand is, she goes, I thought he was just insecure, like an insecure person, but it turns out that he was just an asshole. So that means he faked me out with his performance on Vanderpump Rules, because I thought he was, well, I knew he was bad, but I thought he never seemed like a guy that was rude to people in his life. So shame on me again.
Your heroes are all falling from grace tonight.
Yes. All my heroes that I keep talking about.
This scene sucks, but we were just talking about El Compadre. I was like, they only go where Quentin Tarantino goes.
Yes. This was my El Compadre when I first moved. This is the West Hollywood one, right?
By Guitar Center.
Yes, this is my first El Compadre. This blew my mind. 2009, when I came here, I started going here, and they would take my photos with the flaming margarita, and I said, "Can life get any better than this?" It was so nice to see that.
Yeah, they got a booth. We got plenty of blurred line confusion about who said what. If Kristen originated the story, Janet tried to tell Jasmine that Kristen threw her under the bus. I couldn't get the vibe on if Jasmine actually cared about that fact, if she was going to take that and run with it in the future or not. Because in the end, it ends with a group hug, and I felt like Janet thought it was kind of a win, because she was like, it turns out Janet is that Jasmine isn't the mastermind, Kristen is. And I'm like, she already admitted that she just said it to piss you off. Like, I don't understand we cannot talk about this anymore.
I know, and we won't. I just Jasmine not knowing that if Jasmine spread this rumor, and her not caring is like the worst part of this aspect, because like we can't even get like the basic details of this rumor mill going. So I don't want to talk about it either. I did like when Jason said, the thing that worried me on the beach is that you seem to have real deep-seated hatred towards Janet. Where did that come from? And then Jasmine kind of walks it back almost 100%. She goes, I meant everything I said in that moment, that you are a vibe killer, you're a Karen, I don't like you at all in any anytime. But then she goes, that was just because I felt picked on, or there was 2-on-1. So that all just came out. I actually love you. So
yeah, she was like, everyone has a little Karen in them. I was like, all right. Anyways.
Yeah, I know I do.
You never know. Once you get on that hotline when you need to get some customer care.
Oh, I call customer care once a week to get
That's
vengeance
Karen
or
mode.
Totally. Okay, Jax is in the at the end of it though. They do say, "Can we please just drink these wonderful flaming margaritas?" And they go, "Yes, let's do it." Okay, Jax has this very funny energy in his recording sessions. His what are these called? Video diaries.
Yeah. They kind of use like weird phrasing in the countdown. It says 2 days until Jax leaves the facility. And I'm like, it doesn't say until like completes the program or like, cause I'm like, he didn't stay the whole time. So was it premeditated or they just after the fact? But he's acting like I can't wait to leave in 2 days. But I'm like, you plan to leave on day 17?
Yeah, we know too much behind the scenes for this to make sense. Maybe he didn't do any video diaries when he was in there and he had to record all 7 right after. And so they're like, this is when this happened. Record this one. This is when this happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we know that it was 17 days. I'll never get that number out of my head. And then we saw that it was day 17 when he went to the park. And so now you're pretending that there was extra days. We know exactly how many days. He said it so many times in every podcast. So this timeline doesn't make any sense.
I don't think we have talked about it yet, but there's a TikTok that went around of when he FaceTimed Jason in the last episode, that Jason's phone switches. It's like an Android at first, which we know he has because they all made fun of him about the green chat. And then mid conversation with Jax, it turns into an iPhone. Yeah. So we're like, okay, so everything about Jax communications in and out are wonky.
Well, let me defend Jason there. Okay. First of all, he's one of the most famous Android users on planet Earth, so everyone would know that he has an Android phone. They do not have Apple's wonderful technology of FaceTime. They have something called Android phone, or I forget what it's called. I don't remember, but he couldn't do that FaceTime call on an Android, so they had to get some producer's phone to come in there. But they knew that all of us would be knowing that Jason's such a huge Android user, so they kept having to switch it back in. Does that make sense?
The most confusing timeline imaginable.
Okay, Jax has amazing energy in this video diary. He goes, "I'm healed."
He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm excited. I'm anxious. I'm scared, but it's time. I've got a lot of apologizing to do, but I hope they could see I'm making progress and really trying." And I'm like, oh my God, please stay away.
Yeah, and these video diaries are kind of funny because Jax performs what he wants the audience to take away from each scene, and he like kind of overdoes it, and sometimes he gets a little cheesy. And then these, left to his own devices, these diaries are the ways in which he can be the most performative and pretend like all of this healing has happened and really put a big smile on his face saying, "Mission accomplished in here. I can't wait to get back to my life." And we know that is the furthest thing from the case because he ends up having to go back in a matter of months.
Yeah. There's something, I guess, whenever we're trying to figure out if Jesse is as bad or worse than Jax, I'm like, there's something at least a little bit comforting about the fact that Jesse will like say out loud that he's a piece of shit asshole. Yeah. Like he will say that he's doing something to be vindictive or, like he just has like more self-awareness, even though he chooses the wrong thing to do and is like potentially evil. That like Jax is like, there's no like rhyme or reason or order that is like so scary because you're like, I don't even know what the fuck you're thinking.
Yeah. I think the evidence is pretty clear who's worse.
Yeah. Well, Michelle is like, I'm actually dealing with someone that's worse.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from what we can see, though, I mean, it seems pretty clear that Jax is going through it a lot more than Jesse in terms of the havoc he's wreaking. Okay. This scene quickly. We'll start ripping through. Brit has a bunch of people come over to eat fast food and throw a bunch of Jax's shit in a garbage bag, so it's out on the curb when Jax gets out of the mental health facility.
It looks like she spent like $300. It was like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Domino's. She got so many orders of fries. She filled like an entire popcorn bowl of fries. I was like, that's like $45 of fries.
I know. Yeah, it really was. How much money did you say?
300.
Yeah, I thought 300. Michelle goes, I have different taste buds completely from.
She was like, oh.
Yeah, she goes, I have different taste buds from Brittany. She loves fast food, and I love the acai smoothies from Oakberry.
Yeah, her and Jesse were real health nuts at home, apparently. So, yeah, they're all helping her. Zach reveals that he's going to transform Jax's bar as a surprise to Brittany. And so that's what's coming up at the end. And they're all, this is the first time Michelle says she wishes she was getting this same level of support. And then they all go up to the closet and throw all of his shit in garbage bags. They're purposefully putting like one shoe in one bag and one in the other, which, if you know Jax, will infuriate him because he's very surprisingly organized.
Yeah, right. And Kristen says there's a little bit of a test for him to put one Nike with the other Nike and stuff like that. That'll be a good game for him. And then this was my favorite moment of the episode. Brittany, she's kind of, she's obviously going through the stuff and she's having fun, like this is a good activity to get Jax's shit out of there. There's a little bit of that rallying spirit, but then she comes out and she's kind of smiling and she goes, oh, his little jean jacket he wears all the time. And then they show Jax wearing this jean jacket, a bunch of flashbacks of him wearing it, and then she turns around from the camera and she's silent and she starts to cry, and it's kind of like, I wrote down, it's kind of like Proust's Madeleines in what's that book, that Proust, that guy eats that cookie and he starts to think about his life. It's a little bit like that. But then Zach goes, oh my God, no, don't worry, you can say those things. And everyone's like, it's okay to be emotional. And Zach goes, hug her right now. And then Jasmine goes, I think to hug her, because it's like, this is not just the fun, let's take vengeance and throw this shit around and kick his ass to the curb. We're brought back to the sadness of this experience for Brittany and how much she loves Jax and how this is the end of a 10-year marriage between them. I really liked that scene.
Yeah.
To feel that kind of raw emotion from Brittany about this whole thing, and not just kind of a fabricated scene about grabbing up a bunch of Jax's garbage.
Yeah, she was very sentimental. At one point, Zach throws away a shirt that says "#1 guy in the group," and he was like, "I don't think this is relevant anymore." And she was like, "Oh."
Yeah, she gets to sad. In Search of Lost Time,
okay.
the Proust book. All right, you want to skip to?
Yes. So now Brittany gets the cojones to visit a lawyer. It is framed as one day before Jax leaves the facility. She has to get it in under the wire.
Yeah. The scene was awesome.
Yeah, it was like interesting. The lawyer was cool because she was like, obviously, I mean, she's a divorce lawyer. She was like pro.
She was so
getting
cool.
It done.
This lawyer was so cool.
Nas.
Like having her have the reactions for the first time, this entire scene was so incredible. Because you and I are so numb to Jax's antics, and then to hear it all laid out like this, step by step, and see the reaction of someone who has no clue, it makes it all the more shocking again.
Yeah,
that we're dealing with this type of energy from Jax.
I was curious if, like, because I feel like normally for a show like this, the lawyer would be like cast the way that like the therapists are cast, where it's just like someone that's willing to participate. But then we are to believe that she signed papers on the spot, but I guess that could have been bullshit, or she was just like, I like this lady.
I believe it. No, I believe it.
Like, do you think she was just cool with the lawyer that was cast? Or do you think that she was like, I was going to talk to this lady anyways. Can we? Are you guys cool with us filming?
Credit to production. I think that they chose that Brittany chose who she wanted to go see, or maybe they said that this is a great person and also it's conducive to filming. I don't know, but everything about this scene felt real. Shame on me if it's wrong.
No, I was just curious of like, because it felt real. So I was like, I wonder.
I think she signed it.
The chicken or the egg of like how they found this person. Like if she was already looking into this person, and then they also agreed to film, or vice versa, you know?
There was a very authentic energy to this person too, like you said, where it doesn't seem like it was someone who was so comfortable, you know, on TV, like a reality TV person that you could just grab for this kind of thing. So I think it was just a real trustworthy person who just happened to be okay with having this conversation on camera. And I think that every step of the way, Brittany made this decision in the moment, which
because she could tell by the woman's reaction that she was like, oh, I guess I really should do this because everything I'm saying to her is apparently horrifying.
Yes,
she starts out explaining it more like without detail, like, we've been separated since January. I moved to an Airbnb. I'm just trying to figure out like what I should do next. And she's like, why are you here today? Like, what got you in to deal with the next steps? And she's like, his blowups are getting really scary, like more and more aggressive. He's actually in rehab and he gets out tomorrow. He's been rage texting me. I had to block him. And she shows a million texts, like more than they show, but they show 3 that were scary as fuck. He said, I know you're drinking. I have eyes and ears. Everyone is going to tell me if you tattle on me again. And then go party while I'm in here. I have every watching you like a hawk. Like a lot of like ellipses and just like ominous shit where I'm like, please get a restraining order. I swear to God.
Yeah, I think she does. I mean, I think that halfway through the season when he comes back, they have security. I think that's documented that she was scared of him. This is horrible behavior. It goes without saying.
Yeah, the lawyer immediately uses the word stalking. She's like, how does he know when you're not at home? Is he stalking you? And she's like, yeah, he's watching me on the cameras. He'll tell me what I'm wearing. And she's like, that's very concerning and disturbing. I don't like that at all. And she's like, yeah. And she's looking at the phone. She's like, that's a lot of text messages. He's obsessed. And she's like, yeah, he is obsessed. And she's like, that is not healthy for you.
Like him being like, oh my God, like it's so bad. It's so bad the Jacks that he never allowed on camera. You know, Brittany says that he produces his own scenes. And last season she kind of pulled the curtain back on that, being like, Jax does a lot of shit on camera to look good in front of the audience. And sometimes you can tell, but like this shit here is like, again, I mean, I'm horrified.
It's killer shit. There's like no other way to say it. It's like these types of behaviors usually only go one way.
I know.
Like it's very scary.
I'm really disturbed by him being obsessed with her. I was scared personally when the divorce lawyer says obsessed, because it's like this is now entering a territory, like you kind of alluded to this a couple episodes ago too, where it's just like this is not anywhere in the realm of what should be happening, obviously. And then all of the watching, and people are looking, and people are reporting back to me, and you can't do one thing without me knowing.
I honestly wouldn't date her, because I'd be like, in Ron Goldman's name, I pray I am not going to your house. I swear to God, I'm not going to your house.
What? Oh my God! I mean, I have to be reserved about. I have to be reserved about that. I don't even want to say those words, but I'm just like, this is too much. This is something that, like, the next year of therapy and mental health treatment that he should get, the year that he should have, or whatever, 6 months, has to pertain to whatever this is here. This is
like, I want her to start moving so fucking fast on this stuff, like watching it unfold in slow motion, of like her being like, you know, like he went to rehab like 5 episodes ago, and like now she's going, like, at least she filed, thank God, that's something. But I'm like her like covering up the cameras and stuff. I'm like, I need you to be like at an undisclosed location. Like, I'm like, this is moving too slow for me. I want you in like a safe house.
I know, yeah. It's like, and then the part of the like his stalking or him having eyes on her is that not only is it cameras, but he thinks that people in the world, his friends, and those guys, Big Lizard,
those greasers,
and Big Lizard and whoever, like Donnie, I think one of their names was, but like that like anywhere she goes, she's like a reality television personality, and also he's got people watching who can report on her actions. He says all 3 texts are about surveillance and how he knows what she's doing. So yeah, and then again, we're now watching this through the eyes of the divorce lawyer. Up to this point, this has to be one of them. I would say one of the worst conversations she's ever had about this is in the realm of uncharted territory, probably in the top 10% of the worst conversations she's ever had with someone. Like every detail of this just gets worse and worse, and then it gets to the more practical, more like what divorce lawyers are typically more for, probably financial problems. She says that when they moved out, they never had a formal conversation, obviously, and they didn't even technically legally separate. This is just a separation that they agreed to on their own, and that Jax is now he's behind on his he was behind on his taxes. He owed $1.2 million
before they got married.
And
she still married him and joined her financial future with this man. I swear to God, the more I learn about the ways that she let him into her life, despite all information screaming to run in the opposite direction.
Well, what's your threshold for how much tax debt you can have before getting married? What do you think?
0.
Wow. All right.
I don't need to marry you and get my shit entangled with yours until you're actually so much more rich than me that I don't have to worry about anything.
Yes. Yeah. And then, she reveals that he hasn't paid the mortgage, which we knew. So these are, again, new layers that the divorce lawyer is unpacking as we go. Each one is kind of a more and more shocking revelation. $1.2 million. That they had to put it on the mortgage or Jax would have gone to jail.
Yeah.
Like sometimes sometime in the Vanderpump Rules, one of those seasons.
I remember that.
I remember when all this tax shit came out, when someone uncovered that he owed $1.2 million, but again,
they took $100K out of her account because she's his wife.
Yeah, and the mortgage payments that they were responsible for went up $9,000 because of what he owed.
Can't.
I know. I know. And this is
it makes me sick.
I know, and this is a different. This is he's doing horrible acts in 2 different spaces. It's all of this financial shit that he's ruining Brittany's life with, and then also all of the awful,
it's just
immoral
utter
behavior
disregard from day one. It's so fucked up and horrible.
I mean, why he doesn't pay taxes?
He's a moron.
I thought you have a manager. They don't hook you up with you have an agent and a manager. They don't hook you up with a business manager and make sure you pay so their clients, you don't lose them to jail potentially for not paying taxes. It doesn't make any sense. At this level, you have to be so irresponsible to fuck up. He
should have gone and then gotten pardoned.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he quite possibly could have. Oh my God. Could you imagine him? He'd be just like Tiger King. He'd be like, you're probably sleep.
Totally.
He'd be like, you guys sleep.
Jail cams.
Yeah, he'd be like, you sleep well out there. You would never imagine the piece of shit bed that I sleep in on each night. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I got a huge pardon potentially coming up. Okay, so this is all bad, and then she says it was a recap of everything that he has done. It's kind of like Jax's full legacy with Brittany defined in this one interview. He also got the lease without telling her, and she goes, "Wait, what? So wait, you're responsible now for all of the payments of his mortgage that's tax lien to shit with his money, and now
she's like, what is he responsible for? What do you get out of this?" She was like, "That's why I need help."
Yes, and then that's where probably the divorce lawyer is like, "This makes sense." She
was like, "Ooh, I like the look of this. I can help you." And she's like, "I'm just wondering if I, should file or when I should file." She's like, "Absolutely, as soon as possible. Sooner the better. You need to let him know that this marriage is absolutely over."
How does now sound?
Yeah, fucking today. She's like, "I can get it going today and it can be filed, if not today, first thing tomorrow." And she literally, on camera, signs the papers, or at least looks
she
at
does say, which I found this to be very real, is that part of her doesn't want to get coaxed back into Jax's reality when he comes back and he goes, baby, I got so much money coming.
She can't even stop getting his text messages. I'm like, why you haven't blocked him? She was like, I had to block him, but then I think she keeps unblocking him, and I'm like, just block him forever.
She loves him.
It's so sad.
I know, she loves him, and so she... Oh, and then this was a great moment just to end it. She says, she goes, "I'm not even crying as I sign these papers." And the divorce lawyer, one of the best divorce lawyers I've ever seen on camera, she says, that's because you're ready. The people who cry in here are typically not ready, and you've been dealing with this for 7 or 8 months, and you're ready for this to be done.
Yeah. I wish that she could get Laura Wasser just for like, you know, some zest for the show. She's like the who the Laura Dern character was based off of in Marriage Story. She did like Kim Kardashian and like she did I think like Johnny Depp. She does like all the high profile divorces, and she's like the best in the biz. And I was like, it would just be really fun if Britney's divorce lawyer was like the ace of all time, and he just like obliterated Jackson. He had some like piece of shit. He's like, I'm gonna defend myself.
Yeah, he gets like
Saul Goodman.
Yeah, I was thinking of who the guy in Marriage Story goes to first, who completely sucks. Bert, Alan Alda. And I was going to say, where does this rank as the worst divorce story that that divorce lawyer has ever heard in history of someone coming in? That's got to rank top 10.
Pretty bad.
There was probably about 15 of the most shocking things she's ever heard in a divorce story. So I don't know. I would say probably top 5 for her.
Yeah. She's like, no, you're doing the right thing. You not crying is because you know you're ready. And Brittany's like, I'm actually feeling relieved.
There's some relief there.
She said at the junk food day that she was like, I'm afraid that when I see Jax, it will break me. Like she, you know, which I started to like, so after that is done, the Jax's surprise party is in the works. And it comes up, she tells Kristen on the way there that she filed that day, because Kristen goes, I'm so proud of you for taking on this endeavor. And she goes, I filed today. And she's like, holy shit, that's amazing. And she's like, but don't tell anyone. I don't want to like make it a thing or whatever. And she's like, I do feel a little guilty that I'm doing it like the day before he gets out of rehab. And Kristen's like, he had fucking years to get his shit together. Like, sorry, too bad. And then like by the end of the episode, Jesse is like, I hate that we're doing this to him. Like, what do we want for him to like totally relapse and go insane? Which like I kind of get, because it's on a show or whatever, of like you're dealing with like a unstable person. Like, not because I feel bad for him, but mostly just to like de-escalate him going nuts. You know what I mean?
What if Jax got driven to Jax's bar after the mental health facility, and he showed up, and there was a bunch of
spray painted Brits on there.
It's spray painted Brits. There's a bunch of garbage bags of all of his shit outside, and then pinned onto the door is the divorce papers that are signed by Brittany. It'd be like It's a Wonderful Life when George Bailey comes out and he had never existed. Jax would be like, what the fuck happened for those like, 17 days?
Am I having like a stroke right now? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Brits and spray paint over there. That's the arc of. I agree too. It's kind of like. Yeah, it's almost like, wait, we're dealing with a wild card here with Jax. You just put a lot on him. How the fuck is he going to react to that shit? Not that Brittany shouldn't have done all this stuff, but it is like, it's like, whoa, he is coming back to an environment that is going to really, really rock his world.
Especially because his outlook, as far as we can tell from the text, is that he should be celebrated like this upon return. Like, he thinks that he's made the greatest sacrifice to humanity, and that he's pissed off that Brittany's even having any fun while he's gone, or that she's not thinking about him every minute and sending him care packages and like worrying that he's uncomfortable. He thinks that he should get a party when he gets out, and everyone's like, no, like, you needed to be sent away because you're scary.
Yeah. Not only did she not send him any care packages, she filed for divorce while he was in there.
Yeah, like, you're fucked, bro.
Zach's plan comes to fruition. He pulls this thing off without a hitch. It has Brit's signage, where it's a kind of this piece of cloth that says Brit spray painted on it. He puts that over. They kind of do this kind of, fat, kind of hastily. But then inside, a lot better work. They got big blow-up sign that says Brit. I was like, where the hell did you get that? With big lights and stuff?
You can rent those.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I don't know anything about that. And then they taped over all of Jax's photos with Brit photos. So I thought it was a clever idea of Zach. He says he takes ownership of this. He says, I thought it was a great idea. I've been thinking of this for months. For a reality television show and also for a real-life friend, this was a really fun idea. Whether or not the execution was great. But they surprised Brittany, and they're all wearing Brit's shirts too.
I wish that I happened to be on Ventura when that sign was up so that I could have been like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Could you imagine if you were driving down whatever that street is and you saw that there was a temporary sign that said Brits up there? I would have raced right in to see what was going on.
Had to made a video immediately.
There it was open to the public that there were people that were there, and you could tell on their face they were like, oh my God, what the fuck are we here for?
Kyle Chan was secretly there.
Kyle Chan was there as well. So we talked about this, but Kristen leads her up. Brittany's so happy. And I don't know if I'm biased now, but I just feel like Brittany is really doing a great job with the hand that she's dealt on this show. And she's really compelling. And I don't know if it's just because obviously she's dealing with the biggest, darkest stuff that a human can ever deal with, but I just think that she's navigating this whole season very well, and she's having great moments where she shines. And maybe I'm just like being too supportive of Brittany, but I really like her in the divorce lawyer's office. She was amazing in that, like not as a scene, but just like she provided a really like dynamic scene. And as I always kind of discounted Brittany on Vanderpump Rules, in a way, and I feel like she's now has to have the burden of being the main cast member on this show without Jax.
I feel like she finally has some backbone of like when she talks to Jesse at the end, she was like, Jax doesn't stand a fucking chance against me. Like I could do so much worse. And I was like, finally, like I'm so obsessed with people knowing their like legal rights. I've been watching a lot of videos and like posts about like, if ICE knocks on your door, like it better be this sort of warrant and it better be signed and the date better be right and your address better be like, I'm obsessed with being like, mark your fucking like dot your Q's and whatever. Like I'm like, I'm like, she needs to be more jaded to like face against it, because before she was like, I believe the best in people. Like, I love him. Like, he wouldn't do me wrong. And it's like, guess what? Like, he drained everything about you, like your soul, like your body, your money, your everything. So like, you need to battle so hardcore against him, and you need to be like, buck the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how, and yeah, that really is what that like final conversation with Jesse is all about. That she's ready to go to war with him, and he won't win. That was
he's so doomed. Like he's done everything so like bad for the courts. Like the case is like ironclad. Like she's gonna be like, you are a danger to our household. Like you're not going to get custody. Like she could just run away with it. No,
you can't get away with any of this shit. All right, well, let's talk. I mean, because that's like a wonderful arc that takes place in this, and then in the middle of it, there's only probably two things we have to really discuss. Michelle makes it known again that she's really, really bummed out that she doesn't get any of this support. It's true, but it's just for some reason, like we already talked about, it's just not something people don't want to rally around Michelle. She also says, the guy that I'm currently battling against, at war with now, who treats me like shit, is just over there.
He's at this party.
And they're being treated just completely differently. You already mentioned that this is an active divorce that they're going through, very acrimonious, but it's not given any of the same deference as Brittany's.
Oh gosh, I fully forgot that there was the Danny Darko thing wedged in here at the end. What did you think about they all do shots? They show Danny hesitate. He starts to do it. He hesitates. They have a shot of Nia looking his way. He puts it down, and then she looks away, and then he sips it. And I was like, do you think that was completely constructed?
No.
You think it was real?
I think it was real because Danny does this thing. I know him like a book now, the Book of Buko. You open up to page 10, and the way he talks to Nia about alcohol, he does go, oh honey, I just had to tell you, oh yeah, I know you don't like shots, and I just had to tell you they offered me a shot. It's so silly, but I don't drink that many shots. The way he's tiptoeing around alcohol around her makes me know that they had a conversation about this. She hates when he drinks. She hates that the Dark Side Danny narrative is going around. She hates that he obviously did horrible stuff to Jasmine and her girlfriend or fiance. So it's like, this is, Nia obviously has a problem, and he is trying to secretly get as drunk as he can get without her knowing. Jesse acknowledges it too. Jesse is pretty like, I don't want to say reliable, but he has no reason to lie about this. He says, I know for a fact that Danny tries to hide his drinking from Nia. Look
he
at
goes,
him.
Danny's like, this is the shot they tried to give me. Do you want some? I took a sip and then I saved the rest for you. And he goes, I'm just letting you know. And she goes, thank you. Yeah, he was like, just so you know, I did drink some of this.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Okay, we've talked about this so many times, but I guess I'm gonna say, well, I guess my questions could lead to the answer of what Janet presumes, which is that Danny has a kind of a relationship with alcohol, which is probably not the best. But I just don't understand for him the benefit if he likes to drink and if it is just about drinking while you're on a reality show to get comfortable. Everyone else is drinking. You're a dad 90% of the time, so you want to get drunk. I mean, take it from me. I know what that's like. I got drunk at a Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, but I don't understand for him why you would do shots and liquor and Jameson. There's this whole beautiful realm of alcohol in which I partake in. They're called beers and maybe one margarita, and you get to pace yourself, and you don't get accused of blacking out and being Dark Side Danny. I don't really know why it wouldn't be better for him to have 6 beers slowly than him rushing 3 to get his, and then it's like, okay, there's these
I guess
questions.
He's a small guy, but the montage of him drinking, I was not impressed. It was like a stein of beer, the sip of the shot, and a cocktail. And he started acting weird.
Okay, yes, but let's talk about this more because I will say Dark Side Danny, this was obviously the return of Dark Side Danny. He definitely emerged, but I would say the bar is kind of low for bad alcoholic behavior on the Valley so far in relation to Danny. Besides the one accusation we have that we never saw on camera, this to me, I mean, someone inserting themselves in a fight that they have nothing to do with and kind of being belligerent.
But it was like different than his character. Like he just he kind of changed in a way that I was surprised.
Yeah, a little more argumentative.
Not that I was like, he's scary, but I was like, oh, he does sort of shift. Because for me, I'm like the opposite, where I'm like 2.5 drinks, I'm feeling happy as a clam.
Me too. Oh my God. 2 beers, 3 beers, I'm feeling absolutely perfect. On a different plane of existence. Get me 2 Trummers. I'm having the best night of my life. Danny, but no, well, Dark Side Danny, I think it's because it's kind of become silly how they keep saying Danny Darko, the return
and also the way that they were acting like he was going to pick up a gun or something. They were like, we need to get him out of here.
He goes, you're weird. Jason, he goes, you're weird. Danny, you're weird now. You're getting really weird. Dark Side Danny has returned upon your face. I see him in your eyes.
He's Danny Darko. Jesse's like, let's go for a walk. I was like, he barely said anything.
Get him out of here. Jesse, I think this guy needs to blow off steam somewhere. He's about to become Dark Side Danny again. And, if we didn't have the one piece of evidence that we did of Danny being horrible, I would say that they're making this is kind of way too much. Is made of Danny's drinking.
Jumped on it. I loved that Jason is so wholesome, gee whiz, that at one point when Jesse's like, let's take a walk, and Jason is like, yeah, take him out of here, Jesse. Danny goes, wow. And Jason goes, not wow, dude. Wow to you. You're the wow guy.
Yeah. We're all wowing at what you did. You can't say wow.
Don't give me wow. I'm wowing about how crazy you are right now. Wow.
You made us wow with your actions. You should not ever have said wow to what we did to you. Also, when Danny gets up, I was like, he's not that drunk. And also, I hate if I have 4 beers and if someone said, this guy's drunk off his ass. He just mistook the final.
Gaslight him.
Yeah, he goes. He just said Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Get his ass out of here. He needs to blow off steam. I'd be like, I had 4
straight
beers.
Jacket.
Yeah, and so I understood his reaction when he goes, really? I need to take a walk. All I did was, he was mad at Janet, and he got a little confidence boost, and then Janet handed him his ass.
Yeah.
Because she said you're an ass grabber. She goes, you look at you. You're just embarrassed about yourself because all you do is grab asses all of the time. As he walks away, and she does have that on him. If Janet wants to say, you're being belligerent and you also grab asses, I think it's within Janet's rights to say that at that time, especially if he's being combative with her. It's like, you got to use the leverage you have.
Right.
If, in that moment.
Right. I feel like, did you ever end up seeing Friendship?
No, I wrote a note of all the movies I'm going to see when they become out on VOD. I got 2. I got Sinners and Friendship and Thunderbolts.
Oh, okay.
Or as they call it, spoiler alert, Thunderbolts: The New Avengers.
Yes. I feel like Jason is one of the men in Friendship. Like, he's just like a man, like TM a man, where he's like, hey man, like holding a beer, like blowing off some steam with the boys.
But, yeah, totally. Yeah. But there's actually a lot more depth to him than you can imagine.
You're really going to bat. Okay, so they like, guide him out. Nia's like, let's get the hell out of here. We can't take this. She's like, I'm annoyed with Darko Danny, but also everyone's getting in his face. So she doesn't completely defend him, but she's like, let's just get out of here before it blows up.
He goes, they're saying Darkseid Danny has risen again. They're saying Darkseid Danny has risen again. She goes, oh my God, not Darkseid Danny again. And she knows that Darkseid Danny has not flittered upon Danny's face in this moment. He's not even close.
But she won't let him have an inch. Like, when he starts to get into it with Janet, even for a second, she's like, Daniel, stop.
Yeah. She goes, Daniel, you don't know what you're talking about here. You're getting all the facts of this convoluted rumor wrong. Please be quiet right now. Luke does say Danny is one of the biggest lightweights in the Valley. He goes, of any of our cast members on this show, Danny's the biggest lightweight. Included. Yeah, that's why I would say drink watered down beers. And then
Nia was drinking like espresso martinis and shit. Like, she was drinking.
I would be fine if they said, Riley, you're a lightweight. I'd say, that's awesome. I'll drink those Radlers, those Stiegel Radlers that are 4% alcohol. You just get to go nuts. Have more.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People that go haywire with alcohol never want to do what's best. See James Kennedy seasons.
True.
All.
True. Alcohol can be one of the best things in life, and it can truly be one of the worst.
Even Jesse's not drinking this night because he has to pick up Jax from rehab. So he's like, I want to be fresh tomorrow. So we know that he goes haywire on the booze too, but he's like, I'm not drinking tonight.
He said, I got a big duty tomorrow. I'm picking up Jax, and I have to explain to him how his bar became Brits, and a bunch of his shit is out on the curb.
Right. Yeah, he's worried about it. And this is where Brittany's like, bitch, don't even start with me. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to feel bad about anything at all. And he's like, how much do you need to win against him? And he goes, T-minus 12 hours and counting, people.
Yeah. I really liked Jesse's line, how much winning do you have to do? Not because I agree with, his philosophy that Jax is being, like, wrecked while he's gone, but I like that sentiment in general. If someone's being, like, gleeful over, like, hurting someone, not in this instance, but I just liked, I've never heard anybody say that before, especially in the Bravo universe. How much winning do you need to do? Because if Brittany was in a different place, like, maybe you'd think about that for a little bit. Not in this instance, but I just like Jesse saying that. And, and he's obviously a defender of Jax at this point, so.
Right. So, yeah.
Great. The episode really, really got 10 times more interesting halfway through once we started getting the Brittany stuff. And totally. I think that's been true of this entire season, like what we truly care about.
Is the meat. We're going to be off of the Valley next week, so you're going to have to wait till the following. We're doing an interim evergreen Turtle Time trip next week for our episode, so we're going to have to double up the following week for the Valley minute, but I think that'll be just fine.
I think so too. Give pity on us and take pity and give us sympathy. Turtle Time is going to be a little shuffled for the next couple of weeks, but we're going to keep you all fed, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. It's just, we're going to switch things up a little bit just over the next couple weeks. What if we get back and the next episode of The Valley is called Darkseid Danny Rises Once More?
Something horrible happened. A hellmouth opened under Jax's and scooped them all in.
Yeah. So we're going to do this week, we're going to talk about Miami and Summer House Secrets Revealed. And then next week, we're going to have a wonderful evergreen Turtle Time trip episode come out, which I think everyone will enjoy, that our patrons got to choose. Our Villa Rosa VIPs got to vote on an episode. So that's coming out next week.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming the week after next.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, all right. Review us, please, and sign up for Patreon right now. It's the best $5 you could ever spend. Goodbye.